Very rarely in the indie scene do we see a product turn into a monumental success story in the same manner as the AAA games that are expected to do so. Very few developers have walked away with 5 or 6 digit numbers and even more in regards to game sales in the indie game development industry. It's been for the past 2 decades a goldmine for players that have wanted more unique and interesting experiences to get away from current trends or the perceived state of AAA gaming as a whole. You have a larger variety of games in this category, but also smaller budgets and sometimes more problems within different departments of the game. Every successful game like Undertale or Stardew Valley, Ready or Not, Deep Rock Galactic, or Risk of Rain is a victory for the indie community, but that's just on the financial side of things mostly. Lots of indie developers make games for a number of reasons that goes beyond money, and a lot of them don't see numbers in the same way as the more popular indie titles do. Whether it's out of passion or a means to educate their own community on their own expertise, it's overall made for the enjoyment of it. A game in this scene becoming viral and popular is ultimately a circumstantial byproduct of current trends, along with some luck to go along with it. Sometimes though, the expected and the unexpected go into play, and the outcome of events can change a product entirely, taking it on a path that was never meant to go on but did anyway because when it released, it blew up at the time and lots of people are enjoying it. That game is definitely Stillness. Definitely Stillness was a teaching case game made by a content creator known as Chen Jiacheng, a game developer and lecturer on the Unreal Engine who had been uploading tutorials on the video sharing network known as Bilibili, which is essentially China's own version of YouTube and Twitch. Back in 2020, Bilibili had done a live broadcast challenging aspiring developers to make a zombie game in half an hour. The developer at the time was unsuccessful in this challenge, but the effort to give it a go had ultimately inspired him to make his own third-person zombie shooter. He had released it initially as a teaching case in order to educate his fans on how to make a third-person zombie game using the Unreal Engine, but the tutorial had gotten way more attention than expected, so much so that the developer eventually decided to release it as a demo so that his fans could play it. It became a sensation, and an even bigger one once it was launched onto Steam in 2021. When it first came out, it had 2 levels and 2 character models and a weapon to use along with a third-person camera. The premise was pretty simple: kill all of the zombies on the map, in both the highway and the village level. It was really that simple. It was never meant to be anything more than what it was intended to be, but the developer had gotten an overwhelming number of requests, wishing for him to continue developing the game because what was there was quite fun for a free zombie game. And to be honest, it's actually pretty decent for what it is, especially when you factor in that the majority of this game was built by the developer himself. The character and the scene models though were paid according to what he says on the Steam page. Over time, it would in fact be worked on even further, adding in 3 new levels, customization options for the characters, other weapons like the M4 and the Scar rifle, as well as attachments, an FPS camera that actually plays quite well, and as well as new character models. Graphically, it's what you would expect from an Unreal tech demo or an indie game that uses the engine. The environments in the first 2 levels are quite nice, giving off a similar vibe from other games like The Last of Us or Days Gone. The zombies themselves usually walk or run really fast, even the big ones. Your best bet for survival here is to not aggro too many of them and prioritize headshots, which you'll want to do anyway because it does affect your score by the end of the run. There were originally 2 difficulty modes, but now additional ones have been added, including a random one that changes the speed of the zombies randomly. The 3 levels added are pretty cool as well and actually differentiate from the first 2 levels that were made. The third one is Chinese Alley, where you have to go and look for the zombies, while shooting other zombies along the way. Eventually it leads to a boss fight where you have to hit 3 switches to make it killable. It's an annoying fight though, where you have to constantly keep your distance, running away, shooting at it again, running away until it dies. But it is a pretty cool level with some nice atmosphere to it. Then of course you have the Backrooms level. It starts off in the Chinese Alley level, you get attacked by a zombie but then you no-clip through reality and end up in the endless office space that is the Backrooms. It's pretty much what you'd expect if you're familiar with this series, and it even has that same weird creature from the Kane Pixels video too. But what you have to actually do here is find a wall to clip through. You hear a beep sign that indicates that hey, this is where you're supposed to go, this is the wall you're supposed to clip through. Talk to the person in there and then go kill 10 zombies. Collect their blood samples and then return in order to finish the level. Also, it's entirely in first person, which is probably in an effort to recreate the found footage style videos that people have made on the Backrooms. It's a pretty well made level overall. Then finally there's the Mist level, which is the largest one in the game because of its open world design. There are supply points where you can find ammo or supplies to replenish your health. as well as a multitude of objectives to follow. This is definitely the most atmospheric level in the game, where danger is everywhere and you're never really too sure that where you're going won't lead you to more zombies ready to ambush you. It does also have some supernatural elements injected into it, just to add some more horror to the experience. I'm not too sure which level is my favorite, but the Mist is definitely up there, as well as the village level, just for its Last of Us aesthetics. The gunplay feels somewhat clunky in the third person mode, but the FPS camera makes it feel more natural, and it's a lot better in my opinion, as well as the perspective that you get from it, giving more immersion into each environment. Definitely Stillness is one of those games where you really do have to take it at face value. The updates added to it were ultimately a result of feedback and popularity from both the fans and the people that had stumbled across it in the first place when it launched on Steam. It shows that even with something that was merely an example or a tech demo, it can become another thing entirely when it suddenly becomes viral, or when a larger number of people start wanting more from it. For a free zombie game, it's pretty decent, and I had some fun in the short time that I spent on it. But it is one of those games where you're not really going to put in a lot of hours unless you're speedrunning the game or enjoy it that much that you're willing to put an ungodly amount of hours into it, which is something that I honestly can't see myself doing here. The creator still uploads content on the Bilibili platform as well as YouTube as far as I know, and whether Deathly Stillness will still receive future content is uncertain. But what is there is how something with original intentions can ultimately lead to a viral sensation, or something even bigger than it originally was, that eventually transformed it into a success story, as well as being a playable game, which is Deathly Stillness. Definitely check this game out if you're looking for a simple but boring zombie shooter that you can kill time with. Thank you for watching.